What landscaper Vincent Baldwin found buried beneath his client's lawn in rural Virginia still haunts him to this day. What started as a simple job to level the backyard of an old estate turned into a discovery that would change his life forever. When Vincent's equipment hit something solid beneath the soil, he assumed it was just a rock. But when he started digging, he uncovered something that made his blood run cold. A roof. A perfectly intact roof, buried 6 feet underground. And when Vincent finally managed to open the sealed door of the structure beneath it, what he found inside was so terrifying that he stumbled backward and fell to the ground screaming. Make sure to subscribe so that you won't miss any new stories. Vincent Baldwin had been working as a landscaper in the Virginia countryside for over 15 years. He had seen just about everything the soil could throw at him. Old wells, forgotten septic tanks, even a rusted-out car from the 1950s buried in someone's field. But nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to discover on the Hartwell estate that cool October morning. The Hartwell estate was one of those properties that seemed frozen in time. The main house was a sprawling colonial mansion built sometime in the 1800s, surrounded by overgrown gardens and acres of rolling hills. The current owner, a retired attorney named Richard Hartwell, had inherited the property from a distant relative and wanted to restore the grounds to their former glory. That is where Vincent came in. Vincent arrived at the estate just after 7 in the morning. The mist was still hanging low over the fields as he unloaded his equipment from the truck. Richard had asked him to grade and level a large section of the backyard that had become uneven over the decades. It seemed like a straightforward job. Vincent figured he would be done by the end of the week. He started up his industrial tiller and began working the soil, near the old stone wall that marked the property's eastern boundary. The machine hummed along smoothly for the first hour, churning up dark Virginia clay without any problems. But then, without warning, the tiller lurched violently and made a horrible grinding sound. Vincent killed the engine immediately. He had hit something big and solid beneath the surface. Vincent sighed, assuming it was just another boulder. These old properties were full of them. He grabbed his shovel from the truck and started digging around the obstruction, planning to pry it loose and roll it out of the way. But after a few minutes of digging, Vincent stopped. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and stared down at what his shovel had exposed. It was not a boulder, it was slate. Gray slate shingles, arranged in a perfect slope. Vincent felt a chill run down his spine, despite the warming morning sun. He was looking at a roof that was buried underground. Vincent immediately called his foreman, Marcus, who was working on another job about 20 minutes away. He told him to get to the Hartwell estate as fast as he could. Something was wrong here. Something was very wrong. While he waited, Vincent continued to carefully dig around the exposed shingles, his mind racing with questions. How could there be a roof under the ground? How long had it been here? Did anyone even know about this? When Marcus arrived, his reaction mirrored Vincent's own disbelief. The two men stood at the edge of the hole, staring down at the impossible sight before them. Marcus suggested they call Richard Hartwell before going any further. This was his property after all. He deserved to know what they had found. Richard arrived within the hour, still wearing his house slippers. When he saw the slate shingles poking out of the earth, his face went pale. He told Vincent and Marcus that he had owned this property for nearly 8 years and had never heard anything about a structure being buried on the grounds. There was nothing in the property records, nothing in the old family documents. As far as he knew, this should not exist, but it did exist, and now they had to figure out what it was. Richard gave Vincent permission to excavate further. Vincent retrieved the small backhoe from his trailer and carefully began scooping away the heavy clay soil. Bucket after bucket of earth was removed, and with each pass, more of the structure was revealed. After nearly 3 hours of digging, Vincent finally stepped back to take in what they had uncovered. It was a building, a small stone building with Gothic-style walls and a peaked roof, buried at least 8 feet below the surface. The stonework was old, very old, but remarkably well preserved. Moss and roots clung to the walls, but the structure itself appeared completely intact. On the front of the building was a heavy iron door, and that door was sealed shut with thick chains and what appeared to be wax. Seals. Vincent felt his heart pounding in his chest. This was not a root cellar. This was not an old well house. This looked like some kind of tomb. Marcus took a step back from the edge of the pit. He told Vincent that maybe they should call someone. The police, maybe. Or a historian. Someone who knew what they were dealing with.